Weyburn Red Wings.
And they were in what league?
Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. That's all before the Tier 1, Tier 2 system and before the the junior draft. The pro teams sponsored junior teams in those days, and the Red Wings naturally with Detroit. Detroit had that. Well, I moved in. Weyburn started their team in 1961, and my dad said you might as well go over and try out for this junior team, and I went over there. It's 35 miles. Drove into the tryout. They cut me within a couple of days, but then I got a call saying, "Come back. We're going to have this junior B team," and so I played junior B then for the next 2 winters, and then junior A for the next 2 winters in Weyburn. And I don't know if this is the next question or not, but the coach was a fellow named Jack Shoup, who was one of the finest guys I ever met in sports. He was, it's I've often thought of this. It was because so many we know now that so many of the junior coaches were taking advantage of the players in a number of ways, but I had nothing but good experiences in junior hockey in Weyburn. The Jack happened to be the coach for both the 2 years I was in, and then he moved up to the junior A at the same time I did. And he ended up, I don't know if you know the name Jack Shoup, but he ended up with the Medicine Hat Tigers and Memorial Cup. They went to the Memorial Cup with Tom Lysiak and Lanny McDonald. And then he stopped the coaching, but he was the GM for several years. I don't know when. That's got to be in the late 80s. He was the GM there and had good teams. And he still lives in Medicine Hat. I had to leave Creelman, but it's only 35 miles. So I boarded in Weyburn, but my dad and mom were basically at every game. Well, the biggest name in our league was Fran Huck. He's the same age as I was, same age as I am, and he was the big star in the league. Joe Daly was in Weyburn when I first went in there. He was playing junior A, but I was playing junior B. But I got to know him a little bit. Around the league, I would say the names I remember: Larry Mickey was in Moose Jaw, Bobby Schmotz was playing in Saskatoon, Ted Hargraves and Cowboy Bill Flett were playing in Melville at the time, Skip Crake, Ronnie Bame in Estevan, and then more my age. I'm getting up, and when I was in junior round, like Billy Lazouk was on our team. He's in Winnipeg here, member of the Manitoba Hockey Hall of Fame. Down in Estevan, they had Ross Lonsbury. Morris Stefanu was a good player down there. In Moose Jaw, Jim Wisty, I don't know if you remember that name. These were guys. Saskatoon had Bill Orban. Do you remember that name at all? His dad was the guy who created the 5BX program, the military exercises program. And so there were a lot of good players in that. Just to fill in a little background, in those days, the Saskatchewan Junior League and the Ontario Junior League were, I would say, the two best leagues in Canada. The Edmonton Oil Kings had usually the best team in Western Canada, but their league, they didn't even have a junior league. They played in a senior league. In Brandon, Brandon was in our league for a while there. That's when Juha Weeding started. Bill Fairburn was part of those teams. Larry McKillop was on a couple of teams I played against in Brandon. Rick Hextall was a player out there in Brandon. They had good teams. Flin Flon was in our league. Dave Peranto was playing up there. Ernie Ramstead. This is just before Bobby Clark and Reggie Leach. But they had good teams up there. George Forgy used to chase me around the rink in Flin Flon. I think he's still living in Winnipeg, is he not? In Weyburn we lost out in the playoffs in the last year I was playing. We lost out in the playoffs to Regina. In those days, the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League winner was allowed to pick up 3 players. So I joined the Regina Pats, and we played the Edmonton Oil Kings and got beaten out by them. But the 3 players they picked up were myself and Billy Lazouk, who was playing in Weyburn, and a guy named Jim Cardiff, who was from Dauphin, played defense, and he's dead now. Well, I think a number of them. I think you know I played with a good team. I can remember breaking my ankle in junior. I'm chuckling here. I broke my ankle early in my second year, and that's why I was 8 weeks on the sidelines. And when I came back, I remember playing the first game on Boxing Day. Jack Shoup said, oh, "Okay, we'll throw these three guys together and see how it works." He threw me in the middle between Billy Lazouk and a guy named Sandy Snow from Nova Scotia. He had been playing in Hamilton. They had some problems with him down there, and they sent him to Weyburn. And we became, I have to say, the hottest line in the Saskatchewan junior. Sandy Snow had 3 goals on Boxing Day. He ended up on 50. He had 53 goals by the time the year was over. And in those days, we had a commissioner, Frank Boucher. He did not allow slap shots. He would not allow slap shots until you hit the blue line. He was afraid that slap shots were ruining the game, and nobody was passing the puck anymore. And Sandy Snow had a real slap shot, and he just loved to sit up high in the zone and let either Bill or myself feed that puck back up high in the zone. He was kind of a trailer, and he would have that stick. He would be winding it up from the time he got to the red line, and he would hammer that thing when he got over the blue line. And he ended up getting 50 goals in the last half of the season, which was quite an accomplishment. I remember that. I remember playing against the Edmonton Oil Kings as a pickup against and they had Butch Paul, Max Mustinzik, Glenn Sather. Bourbonnais was gone by that time, but Al Hamilton was there at that time. They had really good teams, as you might expect for a team that won the Western Canadian title almost every year. I did. I think I won the most gentlemanly player award in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League in my second year. I certainly won a team award with the Weyburn Red Wings, a couple of them, and I was leading scorer in the playoffs in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League in that second year. That I took a lot of pride in that, leading scorer in the playoffs, because Fran Huck had won the regular season scoring championship by 100 points or something, but I had missed half the year. So to beat him in the playoffs as the leading scorer was, I thought, a real feather in my cap, and I was proud of that. And there was lots of good players, in the league, like Weeding and Fairburn, and Dave Peranto was a good player in Prince Albert, in Flin Flon. Bobby Schmatz, these were guys. I took a lot of pride in doing something better than those guys.